Dear guests, dear participants, welcome to the UNI.MINDS 2022 climate panel discussion. Climate change has been a long-standing warning that we are, as a society, need to react, mitigate as much as possible and adapt accordingly. In the climate panel discussion, we will try to find out how researchers are responding to climate change, how they are taking it into account or integrating it into their research activities and projects, and how companies are dealing with it when innovating their products or developing their services. We have invited 3 Slovenian researchers from 3 different research institutes and 3 representatives of Slovenian companies. Let me introduce them to you. Warm welcome to Mrs. Dasha Majcen, currently working as Marie Curie Fellow at InnoRenew Center of Excellence in the field of carbon accounting of forest-based industries. Second, Mr. Igor Karlovic, Head of the Department Print and Packaging at Pulp and Paper Institute from Ljubljana. And the third one, Mr. Uroš Novak, leader of the research group for bioplastics, biocomposites, and zero waste technologies at the Department of Catalysis and Chemical Reaction Engineering at the Chemistry Institute from Ljubljana. From the industry, the following representatives have joined us in the discussion panel. Mrs. Barbara Šubic, CEO at company MSORA Joinery, known as innovative Slovenian company in production of technologically advanced and visually sophisticated wooden windows. Mrs. Barbara Kobale, Head of Sustainable Development and Corporate Social Responsibility at Marles Company, known as the oldest and largest Slovenian manufacturer of prefabricated buildings, and for more than 15 years has been synonymous for prefabricated houses. And last but not least, Mr. Juri Čretnik, Director of company RACI DO, acting in the field of energy, ecology engineering. RACI's main activities concern emission and process gas measurements, as well as development, consulting, installation, commissioning, calibration, and maintenance of systems for continuous and discontinuous measurement of gases and emissions. The discussion will be moderated by Mr. Bart Stegemann, Slovenian orchestrator at Climate Kits, Circular Economy and Value Chains Transformation. I'm passing the word to Mr. Stegemann, and I'm looking forward to your fruitful discussion. Mr. Stegemann, please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sebastian, for the word. Also, a warm welcome from my side, and very warm welcome to my honored guests at the squared roundtable that we look at today. And just before we start, there's a lot going on in the world. The world leaders are discussing at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh about what needs to be done. I am currently in Cukrarna, where the 3 cities of Slovenia were part of the Net Zero Cities program has signed the declaration that they will move forward to become CO2 neutral by 2030. So in this light, it's good that we are here at this table, because Slovenia has, in the last almost 20 years, the temperature of the air is rising. The water that is falling from the sky is more and more unevenly divided. So in the summer we have much more droughts. In the winter and in the autumn we have much more water, which of course does not fill up for the deficit in the past. I believe that we all were born in the more colder area, but definitely our children and our grandchildren will not have that luck. So that's why I'm happy to hear what can be done and what can we do together to have a better impact on the climate, and maybe what should we do to adapt, because if we cannot stop it, we should at least be able to adapt to it to make our lives at least to move forward in a more sufficient way. But to not start completely in a black mood, I would like to ask everybody of you, just as a kickstart, as an icebreaker, for you personally, what are the benefits personally, from all those climate changes that are happening? So maybe I can give the word at first to Dasha. What are your personal benefits of the climate change that's happening around you, if any?
Interesting question. Just before I start, I would just introduce myself for those of you that don't know the institute where I come from. So I come from innovating Center of Excellence. We were founded, we are quite a young institute. We were founded in 2017 by 4 partners, University of Primorska and 3 international ones. And we are working on, our focus is basically creating better built environments. So we try to do that by using renewable materials. Mostly we focus on forest and agricultural materials, primary residues, side streams, waste streams, fractions, and thereby we support a circular bioeconomy and sustainability. Personal benefits, well, that's a tough one, I have to say. It's definitely, personally, I see climate change mostly as a threat to society, to humanity, to nature, to well-being of everybody. So I find it hard to kind of really talk about personal benefits here, because if I look at the large-scale societal impacts of climate change, those much outweigh my possible personal benefits that I might have. And I believe that this is a real crisis, and we really need to accelerate our action in these fields. We need to accelerate everything, like transfer of knowledge, adoption of measures, policy developments, everything. I think we need to really be active on all the fields, because it's really a crisis, and we will reach a tipping point where, we all know it's going to be a global catastrophe. So this would be kind of my thoughts on the matter. Yeah, maybe I didn't answer so well on personal benefits, but I think they don't really play a big role.
No, thank you very much, Dasha. I think this is exactly also the point where we basically, why are the things happening as fast as we want? Because if we come to personal questions, and personal life, and I can give one example where I see the benefits in a personal matter. When I dry my clothes outside until the end of October, instead of using the dryer, this is for me a personal benefit in this respect. But of course, it does not outweigh the crisis where we're in, and this was exactly my trying to get the understanding of we do not move as fast enough because we do not see the threat. It's all cool. We had 2 weeks ago, we had a nice ice cream in the center of Ljubljana because it was a perfect weather for that, and this is not okay. So thank you for elaborating, and I think the question landed at the right desk. So let's move forward with the following questions. So maybe to Uroš, what is your perception of climate change in general? How does it affect your institution, value chain, and cooperation among basically the stakeholders you work with?
Okay, thank you for the question. Regards to your previous questions, we are very happy that, because as a scientist, we look in the future, always few years ahead, what will going to happen, how we will change the world in the broad sense of speaking. So problems are always good for us. If we don't have problems, there will be no development in that sense. So what does it mean for institutions? So I will start with money, because economics is very important. We are a developed country, Slovenia, so we use our natural resources by the 18th of April for this year. So we are rich, we can buy stuff. So how can we now develop something that not be detrimental to the future generations? So here we are talking about climate adaptation, smart climate solutions. How to address it? We are heavily involved, our institution, Institute of Chemistry, and our department in Horizon project. So we are quite, I guess, most successful in Slovenia. So this year we got 50 million from this project. Together, the whole project, the whole consortium, of more than 150 million. So I'm coordinating one of the biggest one, 9 million EU missions, a new program. So we are addressing it in front of. What we are also doing at our institute is going to the regions in Slovenia. Before, Bart, you mentioned the Ljubljana as this climate neutral cities. So our institute will build 3 centers. One will be in the Savia region for carbon-free technologies. Then one will be in Velenje. It's also one of the carbon neutral cities. It's a biorefinery. So this is what you need, the next steps. So we done this 10 years ago. No one was like, we're not in the front lines, but now we are getting there because we worked so hard. We have something to show. And now it's time that our generation, or young generation, show what we can do. So we're not afraid of the challenges. It is what it is. Our kids has no choice. So thank you, all generation, what you did. So it's time now to work on adaptation. But we know, like immediate solution, also politicians will not do much. So it's like more or less in the individual's hands.
Thank you very much, Uroš. So climate change causes problems, and for research institutions, problems are the key to get to work and to really develop something better in this respect. Thank you. Perfect. Igor, is this the same in the Pulp and Paper Institute? What is your perception in general?
Okay. Hello, Bart. Thank you for the question. As we are a little bit similar to the National Institute of Chemistry in some things, and also with InnoRenew, but we deal with lighter materials, not so on solid wood, or not so much on all outputs of biochemistry, but we're more focused on the fiber side of it. We see a lot of emerging trends from producers, because we mainly work with industry partners here. And the one thing maybe the people don't perceive is the scarcity of cellulose, because many people see all around us the forests and the wood, and then think that there will be enough cellulose for everything they imagine. And in the last few years, we have tens and tens of calls from whole Europe, which are seeking alternatives to wood-based cellulose. Because basically paper products are intended for shorter lifetime, and they have a very low CO2 sequestration, which is good for example, for construction. And we are mostly doing packaging things, and for that we are looking very much into alternative residue fibers, industrial waste, agro residues. And for example, if we think about climate change, if it brings drought and there will be not enough food for the crops, and also those alternative ways of obtaining cellulose fibers can also be very challenging, because Slovenia is the 3rd most forested country in Europe, but we somehow try not to use wood cellulose because we think it's important for the climate and also for the long-term CO2 sequestration. So basically, all companies are looking below sea, above sea, under every bush, looking for some alternative, and I think this will impact everybody. Besides, I think the wrong perception of everybody that there is enough cellulose to, for example, change all polymer materials. So many people don't realize this. That's I like to maybe emphasize a lot of time, but I think it's very important that we don't destroy all the renewable resources to, for example, lower the temperature, but to have some kind of equilibrium of technologies with different kind of institutions and of course companies.
Thank you very much, Igor. So basically, a world without paper packaging will come sooner than later if the things go in this direction. So in this respect, maybe we can now get from an institution to also the implementation. So I would like to give a kind of a dual or triple conversation between Dasha, Barbara, and Barbara on development projects in your institution and how the projects in the sector in your institution, how does this land at a company level? My apologies. So maybe we can start with Dasha and then have a nice slide towards the both Barbaras.
Thank you, Bart. So at InnoRenew, we are currently running around 30 projects I counted related to circular bioeconomy and sustainability, based on like the general area the projects deal with. About half are like nationally funded, and the other half is European funded, and they belong to various fields. So like human health, wood modification, renewable materials, sustainable buildings, ICT, and so on. They span through varying levels of TRL, although I have to say that as a research institute, we understandably have a larger percentage of maybe like lower TRL projects. So I mean, around 4 to 6 is kind of like where the bulk of our development lies. We know that higher TRL projects are maybe less common in publicly funded projects, and we also do run some projects on higher TRL directly with companies. And we make an active effort at involving industrial partners at both publicly funded projects and also bilateral projects with them. We are often successful in attracting industrial partners. There is interest from the industry side to participate. So in total, we collaborate with, or have collaborated with, about 100 companies from 20 countries all over the world. But of course, there's also sometimes smaller companies, understandably, have a harder time participating, dedicating their funds to this type of projects, and are more doing business as usual, you know, in order to survive. So besides this, besides trying to be active with the industry, we need other sort of incentives to bring these companies on board as well, like to help them through maybe policy incentives and measures, and also through like just general awareness of the public, and slowly like trying to shift the markets towards different products, so that companies, you know, so that the market changes and the companies are actually forced to think differently, and go away from the business as usual.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect bridge to, let's start with Barbara Subic. So how do you make sure that the awareness of your customers and the market in general is changing, and basically your innovative products are basically landing on the market as they should?
Yeah, that's quite a tough one, actually, because we have a lot of projects, and research and development segment in our company has always been throughout the history a huge part of our business. But we know where the business and the products should go, going towards circularity. We are window producers, we use wood, and people in Slovenia really think that there's enough wood because they see it all around us. And already in the last 2 years, we have really hard difficulties getting the wood for our supplies. And we are a small producer. We use 1,000 cubic meters per year. That's small amount. And every week we struggle getting it. So that's why we are researching new ways and new wood species, which would be in the future also, because the spruce segment is decreasing in Slovenia and in Europe, and the beech is increasing and so on. Which type of wood species could we use instead of let's say spruce, or can we use really discarded wood and produce new windows and put it on the market? We have done that already, and there is no market. There is no market yet to buy such products. So on one hand, we know where the future is. We still try to educate the market, our customers. And I think everything that is going on in the world, things are slowly changing, and they are changing in the right direction because we have no other end. We have nowhere else to go. So, but it takes time. What we can do in the meantime is to really look inside the company and find really some opportunities still how to improve the company as it is. So the processes, the energy consumption, the water consumption. That's why we went in at the end of this year to get the Green Star evaluation, to really make the right indicators for us for the planning the future better. We haven't done that before. We don't know where we are at. But if you know where you want to be, you know where you have to know where you are at this moment. So the starting position. And this is what we want to achieve because, yeah, as I said before, there are no 10 ways how to get out of this. There is only, there is quite a pathway that is known, and more companies that would follow it, then we have the right goal together.
Thank you very much. And yes, I think definitely awareness raising and education in where we all need to go is definitely a very big part of our future. So in this respect, Barbara Kobalé, what is your approach to either convince the market, either to educate the market, and to present your products, your building system in this daylight of, let's say, CO2 neutral and other sustainable ways of living, healthy living?
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, in our company, Marles Hiša Maribor, we are very aware of the burning issue of climate change. And in terms of looking at our supply chain, we, on one hand, try to select suppliers that have the certificates. And on the other hand, also to raise awareness among customers, what they do with their selection of their choices, for example. Of course, we know that at the end, money talks, I was going to say. So unfortunately, still today, more sustainable materials, more sustainable options are often quite more expensive. And at the end of the day, clients have the money that they have for the house. And once all the negative effects, I'm going to say, are going to be calculated into the price, then it's going to be easier to shift the change towards the more sustainable solutions. Until then, it's only upon us in order to present our customers different sustainable solutions.
Thank you. Just to stay a little bit with you, one part of also sustainable living is making sure that greenhouse gases do not appear, because one part is of course the production and the usage of material. On the other hand, also the houses have when people live in that, yeah, they produce either greenhouse gases, either maybe we can have a passive or maybe an active under zero house already developed. So what's your development in this area, and how do you make sure that your houses are as on their own either very close to zero, either maybe even below?
Yes, in the last years, we have developed together with our 11 companies or partners in Slovenia a project which was a development project of net zero house. This is a smart house called Dom 24 Hours, where actually smart and sustainable solutions were developed from the construction, from the materials used, from the paint used, from all the modern IT solution used, which is actually the project's finished this year. And the customers can see that that projects here at our site in Limburg, close to Maribor. And actually, it is very up to date development house where customers can actually really see what kind of solutions are on the market and what is possible in terms of sustainable materials, change-based materials we use. The house is actually it's a provider of electricity, it's a storage of electricity, it has all the smart moves in terms of being really sustainable and offer sustainable living. So we have different systems developed together with 11 partners, as I said, and customers can choose one part or all of the house. So we offer them actually also to have a look of the house and to see the actually live what's possible, not just being able just to live, but also to live sustainably in terms of long-term living.
Thank you very much. And yeah, this of course it counts when in your respect, every new young Slovene would buy a house. Yeah, they could knock on your door and it will be solved. But of course, in the country where we live in, we have a lot of existing buildings, a lot of existing infrastructure that is already emitting greenhouse gases and other way of, let's say, negative impact on the surrounding. So Yuri, you're a bit of a, if we speak about the round table, an outsider, but I believe that with your technologies, we will definitely be able to be much more concrete in where we need to change and what we can offer to change the already existing environment around us. So could you reflect a bit on that and maybe also position yourself in this area of climate change?
Hello to everybody. Do you hear me? Okay, I will say we are offering monitoring, and monitoring is, let's say, included in every breath. So monitoring is so important that it's have also in European Union a special, let's say, reference document, and monitoring is included in each, let's say, production, in each process. And we are deeply involved in measuring all, let's say, types of gases. We are in production, in the line of input, output, and so on. So we are doing measurements, not because monitoring is a little bit more than just measuring. And we are trying to offer services to our customers, and we are trying to do quality assurance of this. So we are accredited body. So we are testing lab, and we are also inspection body. So this just, let's say, but if you're asking about, let's say, my perception of climate change, I will say it's not positive, but because there is, for my opinion, too much of exaggeration. But anyway, we have to do something. We cannot go on the way we are doing in the past. We have to find the balance between the population growth and the consumption of food, raw material, and if you want, also energy. So, and there is also another problem. There is a big gap between the poor countries and let's say, rich countries. You know, we cannot reduce for the same % of everything. For example, let's say greenhouse gases. So I will say we should have more work, but in general, it's opposite because let's say our services can use only big companies. And also, you know, must know so that the bigger plants are better controlled as the small plants. And you can see also this from emission limit values now. So big plants are better controlled, more, how to say, forced to respect the rules and so on and so on. Okay.
Thank you, Yuri. Time flies when you have fun. So we have another 50 minutes left. So maybe it's good to hear from the industrial part. The industrial ecosystem is much more innovation, cooperation, and synergies between all the pillars in society, academic, research institution, also citizens. How at your companies, Barbara and Barbara, are you incorporating this transition from being a standalone company to really integrate basically those pillars of society in your development? And whoever puts the microphone on first is allowed to speak. Yes, perfectly. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been over 15 years that we have started collaborating with faculties, institutes, because we find strength in these collaborations. And also right now we are working on circularity and sustainability topics along with them. We have two projects, ICON 2.0, which is a follower of the ICON 1.0 that was collaborating with InnoRenew. We are trying to develop a new business model of producing window that can be easily disassembled when it is over, when its life expectancy is over. To use no liquid adhesives on this window, to use metal joints. So this is one project, and then we have another that has also started its revenues. We collaborate there with Slovenian Wooden Institute and Slovenian Front-runners and biotechnical faculty. We're trying to guess which wood species would be available for us when there will be lack of spruce, let's say, and how much discarding wood is there for us to use. So these are two, and in the last one that we have applied in September to Horizon 2020, there is a huge project going on. I hope it will be successful because it is planned, it's called Circ Timber. It's planned to have a huge platform, a European platform that would allow all wooden producers of any kind to gather products there, to gather needs of different wood, also discarded wood. It would be like a platform for marketing, platform for evaluating wood, learning about it, having LCA done of different products, comparing it, because nowadays you cannot compare two products LCA. You don't know what one LCA was done upon and what the other, so this doesn't mean anything to the customer. So yeah, I really hope that this will go through, because our mission inside this is to continue to develop one app, how to get discarded wood from people, how much is this wood available. And also there is a cute project in Ljubljana that we would like to do, and this is to get wood from the building, an old building that will be restored. So from the roof, take it to our company, produce new windows out of it for this exact building that will be refurbished. So this is really giving something back, and also, of course, with sustainable processes. When I was listening to the previous answers from Barbara and Yuri, it's really great. And we have, let's say, the same problem. We have high energy windows. We have all the certificates. But if we are really quite fair and we look at the LCA, we know that we have a lot of components in our windows that are not so eco-friendly. We as a small producer, we don't have much strength to influence the huge, let's say, glazing industry in Europe. We have no power at all, but still wood is only 20% of the whole window, or even less sometimes. And the main energy consumption used when we are looking the whole windows is actually for the glass. We have just a small percentage that we need more to build it. And when we look at a house, we shouldn't look at a house as only how much it will use when people are living in. It's how much energy was used for each and every semi-product that is built in this house. I live myself in a passive house, in a wooden passive house. I use really small amount of energy throughout the year for heating, 200, 300 euros, small. But at the time when I was building it, there was no components that not all of them were from Slovenia. Some of them were brought from Austria, the huge wooden slabs. Then some of them were brought from Poland at that time. That is not sustainable. That is not, you know, looking it as a whole and looking at a product, a complex product as a window is or as a house is. There is not just what we do inside our company. It's what we get and how we get it and from where we get it and what this product already brought with it. So yeah, the path and the work that we need to do to go towards sustainability reaches outside our company. And yeah, we need to have, we still have a lot of work to do to change.
Thank you very much, Barbara. So I would continue with Barbara Kobalé to maybe give a reply on that one, because other Barbara lives in a passive wooden house. So maybe to make the bridge on this part, how to make sure that this value chain and the supply chains are as short as possible, so that also the production is basically close to zero.
Yes, actually, it's very important what other Barbara said. We have done this year actually a very detailed analysis for, we measured our greenhouse gas footprint of the whole, our activity. And actually only about good 2% is happening in the house. 98% is happening outside the house. This is from the supply chain in upstream and downstream. So it is important when we are going to commit ourselves to actually making our global footprint zero, is actually to look at the supply chain and actually really see what can we do on that. So this is our next big task, I'm going to say, here in Marles, where we know now where we are, and we are going to set the targets where we want to be, and then trying to reach on different ways. So we will need to see at our supply chain very closely and work upon that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe, and also regarding the collaboration with university and institutes, we've been working for universities and different science academics institutions in Slovenia and also outside Slovenia, and we are currently developing some projects together with new ideas that are coming from the university students regarding the passive houses. We're hopefully to get some fresh ideas also from the universities, but also we work with institutes from Austria, where we have our big market as well. So we also develop together different projects on sustainable materials.
Perfect. We, as from the research institutes, we have from all three, at least the institutes are also very strong at the design part of their solutions. So I would like to get a little bit of an insight, because what is happening in the world, or at least in Europe, is that the sustainable transition and the digital transition will now be extended with also the creative support to make this transition happen. So maybe, Igor, we start with you. How do you see the, let's say, creative sector playing a different role in speeding up the transition to either a sustainable, either a circular economy?
Okay, thank you. Yes, it's a very good question, because recently we had a workshop where artists from different backgrounds, different arts, use, for example, biomaterials to 3D print or make some kind of art or unique craftsman items. So there is a lot of collaborations happening, because these designers are finding these new types of biomaterials, like, for example, lignin, which has been burned before in paper mills. Now it's a very, very valuable, high added value chemical. Then nanocellulose, different kind of biopolymers. Uroš can say something on that. But basically, they started to toy with it, to experiment it. They are using for 3D printing. I also have been, when they try to 3D print some wood house elements from a fiber-based composites to get some decorative elements which are impossible to make with classic timber production. So it's happening a lot. As I said, we are mainly supporting them with different fibers that we mix in different binders. And there is a lot of things happening, and we are very happy. And also what is very important, that a lot of urban creative hubs are popping up, which have basically all the equipment to experiment with this kind of biomaterials on the spot with these 3D or even now 4D printing technologies.
Thank you, Igor. So the development really of this creative sector is really going in the right direction. Uroš, would you like to add something to this? Where do you see the creative sector popping up, or let's say joining also the research part of certain elements?
Yeah, this is very important for us, since you want to work with industries or have some impact to the end users, people who have to involve design already in the idea making. So this is what we are doing. So this is why we are different. This is why I don't have UNI.MINDS logo, to have my own to promote what we do. So our story. So also recently the designers and so on, or the creative sector, a lot of faculties in University of Ljubljana, so they are lacking motivation when they go out of the search. Why is that? You know, the good designer will give the price up. Today, no one is buying cheap stuff, it's buying designer stuff, more or less. Sustainability today is fake. No one will buy if you put something sustainable. You know that already. Therefore, now it's like zero waste, something new, something creative, and so on. We are buying with our eyes. And how we are selling our technology, or how we're getting project, we are going to the people, we ask them, we are all around the different events, something, everything which makes a change. And then we go back to the lab and develop this idea. So Igor can say it, how this is done. So we have maybe 50 students per year just transferring, hey, Igor, can you do this, can you do this, different events and so on. And what you figure out, it's not just leave it at the research, go also to learn entrepreneurship. So we are now both research institute, and also this new law that we get allow us to. No, we can be researchers and also helping the startups to grow, to evolve this. So startups are like a very fragile ecosystem, so they're not succeed, but still, they people who are working on this have this idea and easy translate it without any problems. What they learn, what is their mission, and so on. They can, for example, I have now one PhD student. She is a designer, and she will work on the sustainable materials for the fashion.
Perfect.
Yeah, and she wants to be entrepreneur. So we're giving all of
Perfect.
that. Writing articles is the simplest way, just explaining your life.
I
if
think
you're
this
good.
is a very
So
good.
design should be like most important, selling stuff to others. We are individuals. We want to be different, not unique, not the same. Not acting together, but support individuality. So
Thank you, Uroš. And then I think, Dasha, we started with you, so I think it's also a good moment to end the roundtable, because then I think Sebastian will let us talk for another 2 minutes. You, InnoRenew is the biggest, and my personal subjective opinion, also one of the most beautiful wooden buildings of Slovenia. So how important is design at your research institution as a lever of change, in basically pushing your work further? So this is one question, and I will also give you the last few seconds to wrap up this roundtable and to give maybe one last motivational, let's say, way of thinking, so that we will all go home with a little bit peace in our heart, that we all together, because at this table we have champions, that we are all together, we are able to make this world a little bit better.
Thanks, Bart. Again, I have a tough task.
Of
but
course.
the first part is not that tough. On the design and creativity and the let's call it the triple transition, I would say it's very important for InnoRenew, and hence we are also a member, an official partner actually, of the new European Bauhaus, which, for those that don't know it, it's a key European policy initiative to co-create the decarbonized, sustainable, and beautiful built environments. So it's kind of aiming to implement or incorporate the goals of the European Green Deal, and incorporate also art and culture, as well as, of course, technology and science to create these built environments. So I think this is really important, because we don't want to work in a silos. We want to open to the society. So this, like, science and industrial ideas, they have to sort of resonate with the general public. And I think this side is very important. It has to be a collective effort to build this sustainable future, I would say. And then for the, let's say, final remarks, the way I would summarize it is, I think we need to, it's kind of necessary to work in three tiers, I would say. It's important that research has closer contact with industry, and that we involve industry in everything we do early on. Yes, our solutions will be developed better for together with the industry. And unfortunately, this transition, as I mentioned earlier, will not happen on their own. Here we have like two great representatives from the industry, which are front runners in Slovenia, actually, in this field, and that's super. But we have to understand that many smaller companies are not with us today, and those need a nudge to be pushed in the right direction. So we urgently need legislative measures and incentives, and it's important for all of us to network in this field and to lobby for the right developments also with policymakers. And last but not least, something that was mentioned several times, I think, is societal awareness. Again, many of us here are aware of this, but still, we heard it mentioned several times. In the end, it stops with the money, right? And we have to try to convince people to sometimes maybe not choose the cheapest, but see value in something that is more sustainable, and also thereby help to push the developments of the industry in the right direction. Unfortunately, so far, it seems we are moving too slow. and we are late in implementing changes that will prevent a climate catastrophe. So I would really call upon all actors, research companies, society, everybody who is listening, to take action towards make more sustainable decisions and take actions towards circularity.
Thank you very much. I'm looking at Sebastian. What should we do? Should we have the question from Hubila, or should we have these famous words from Dasha? We will end the table.
Yeah, well, maybe you can pass the question to the two representatives of the companies here present, although maybe they are not considered as, corporate, but maybe they can answer the question that was posed by the public.
Yeah, I can answer. Yeah, we are corporate, or how would you say? I can relate this question to our higher aim. As a company, we are a joint stock company, and as a company like this, there is 114 employees that are owners of the company. So I think that on itself is a higher aim. We take care of the local community of local people and their families, and for more than 70 years, providing them the secure living and the income, let's say. So this is one higher goal that was always and is always in our philosophy, but not also only in the philosophy, in our aim of the company. The profit also goes back to the owners, which are the employees. So this is the circularity that is that they can feel, let's say. But doing local and using local materials, 80% of our wood that we are using comes from local forests. This is also some, we need to work respectfully towards it. Luckily, there are a lot of forests around us, and unluckily, we cannot get much or enough out of our woods. So we still need to get different suppliers to get it. But yeah, it is in our philosophy every day, let's say.
Thank you very much. I think we did well, Sebastian. Only 7 minutes past quarter of 3.
I see.
But in this light, also what was said before, there is no time, and time is one of the things that cannot be recycled. So we need to hurry up, and I think in Slovenia we have really good opportunities currently with all the net zero cities, with our deep demonstration program, and with all the other perfect initiatives on business and innovation institutions, that if one country can do it, I think it's Slovenia. So I count on you on moving forward, all us together, and let's see where we end up. So thank you very much, and have a pleasant day.
Thank you, dear speakers, dear moderator, dear listeners, dear participants. At the conclusion of this discussion panel, once again, I would really like to sincerely thank you on behalf of the organizers for your collaboration and your precious thoughts, answers. I hope that what Bart said and all the answers that were given today give us the right direction to the more sustainable future. And I think that, yes, we can be positive on that, but the time is running, so we have to hurry up and do the right steps in the right direction. Thank you very much again to all of you. And I'm looking forward to meet you in the next opportunities of the UNI.MINDS Festival this year or maybe next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.